Hi folks, it's Mike Murphy. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to get started using Claude Code Remote Control. So you can start a Claude Code session on one computer, walk away from that computer, and then pick up that same Claude Code session remotely on any other device. Imagine this. You launch a Claude Code session on your main computer. So the computer that never leaves your home or your office or even on your virtual private server. You're working away in Claude Code and you realize you have an errand to run or a doctor's appointment. Or maybe you're just tired of being inside, you want to go for a walk, go to the coffee shop for a change of environment, but you want to still be able to work on that Claude Code session because you're making good progress. So if I launch a Claude Code session on my home computer, so on my MacBook Pro, and the remote control is active, well, I could walk out the front door, go 2 blocks that way, and I would be on the beach in Old Naples, Florida. I could then take out my iPhone, open up the Claude app, and I could pick up on the Claude Code session that I started at home on my MacBook Pro and work on Claude Code right on my iPhone sitting on the beach. Now at home, if my MacBook Pro were to go to sleep, or maybe I forgot to plug in my MacBook Pro and it ran out of battery, or the power went out. If the Claude Code session ends on the computer where you activate the remote control, you will immediately lose the remote control access from any device where you are accessing that Claude Code session. The requirements or the prerequisites to use the Claude Code remote control, you must be using Claude Code version 2.1.51 or later. To check your current version of Claude Code, just open up a terminal window or PowerShell if you're on Windows, type Claude -- version, tap return, and that should return the current version number. Again, you must be on 2.1.51 or later. To do a quick check and just make sure that you have remote control enabled on your version of Claude Code, open up the terminal or PowerShell if you're on Windows, just type out Claude to launch Claude Code. Type the / to bring up the Claude commands, and then just start typing out remote control. So REMOTE, and there you should see remote control in the list. And a little bonus tip, if you don't want to type out remote control every time, the shortcut, you can just type RC for remote control. That will also pull up the remote control in Claude Code. You must have a Claude subscription and be on either the Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise plan. And also worth noting, if you use Claude Code on a pay-as-you-go API plan, API keys are not supported for Claude Remote at this time. You will need to authenticate or be signed into your Claude Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise account in order to get remote access. Now, if you try to activate remote control in a directory and you haven't accepted the Workspace Trust, that message that says, do you trust this folder? And you tap 1 to accept. If you haven't already done that by launching Claude by itself, you're going to get the message saying, in order to use remote control in this directory, you just need to accept the trust. When you first see this message, it should take you back to the command line. All you have to do is just launch Claude the way that you normally would by just typing out Claude, tap return. Yes, you're going to trust it, so tap 1. Claude Code is going to open, and now you can activate remote control by just typing / remote. There you can see the remote control. And if for some reason you can't seem to get that Workspace Trust error to go away whenever you're trying to launch remote control, well, just tell Claude Code the error that you're getting. Claude will be able to change the permissions and help fix it for you. So there are 3 different ways or 3 different modes on how you can start a Claude Code remote control session. There's server mode, interactive session mode, and then you can launch it from an existing Claude Code session. When you open the macOS terminal or PowerShell, you are typically in your home directory, and you always know that you're in your home directory when you see that little tilde. Now, you can start a remote control session in your home directory, but in most cases, you'll probably want to use the remote control feature with a specific project directory or in a project folder. So if I want to start working on this Project 1 directory or Project 1 folder in Claude Code, I'm going to launch it in the terminal. And a real easy way to do that, in the terminal, type CD, which stands for Change Directory, put a space, and you can simply drag the folder right on the terminal window. I'll just let go. I'm just going to tap return. I am now in that Project 1 directory. You can always tell what directory or what folder you're in the terminal if you type pwd, which stands for Print Working Directory. That is going to show you the current path. And a little tip, if you want to get back to your home directory at any time from any directory, just type out CD for change directory. Don't put anything else, tap the return key, and now you're back in your home directory. And the second way that I often open up a project directory or folder in the terminal, I just right-click on the file or folder, go to Services, and choose New Terminal at Folder. That opens up a new terminal window in that project directory, and I can confirm it by typing pwd. Now, out of all three methods, server mode is the more advanced, developer-friendly mode. When you launch Claude Code Remote Control in server mode, the Claude Code session runs silently in the background on your computer and is just waiting to be pinged from a remote device like your iPhone or another computer. When it is in server mode, you do not interact with that Claude Code session on the computer. Server mode is really if you want 100% remote. You launch server mode if you just want to turn your computer on, have Claude Code running, walk away, and then access that Claude Code session on another device. Maybe you have Claude Code installed on your hosting or VPS. If you don't and you would like to, well, there's a link in the description to a tutorial on how to do that. But you could launch Claude Code in remote control in server mode on your VPS, so it's just sitting there waiting to be pinged. And then you could build end-to-end workflows and ping that Claude Code session right from end-to-end back to your VPS. Now, interactive session and from an existing session both do the exact same thing. The main difference is, though, interactive session, you launch Claude Code and tell it to launch in remote control, whereas from an existing session is when you are already using Claude Code and you're like, you know what, I want to turn on remote control so I can leave the house. Well, then from that existing session, you just enable remote control. When you launch Claude Code Remote Control in server mode, so Claude Code is running silently in the background. You cannot interact with Claude Code in the terminal like you can in other Claude Code sessions. If I try to type something here in the terminal, nothing happens. And just as an FYI, if you're ever in this non-interactive mode in the terminal, if you cannot see the command line so you can type something out, all you have to do on a Mac, you press the Control key and you tap the letter C, and that's going to shut down the session and it gets you back to the command line. Now, if you want to be able to chat back and forth with Claude Code like you normally would in the terminal, you are going to launch Claude Code as an interactive session or from an existing open Claude Code session. So that way, when remote control is active, you are still be able to type in the terminal and chat back and forth with Claude Code. And it does not matter if you're running server mode, interactive session, or from an existing session. If the Claude Code session stops or is interrupted, you are going to lose the remote connection. And now let's go through the 3 different ways that you can start a Claude Code remote control session, and we'll start with server mode. Open up the Mac OS terminal or PowerShell if you're on Windows. For server mode, you're going to type Claude space remote dash control, tap the return key. Claude Code is now running in server mode. The process is running quietly in the background, waiting for remote connections. Remember, when you are in server mode, there is no command line in the terminal. You do not interact with Claude Code in the terminal when you're in server mode. The way that you interact with Claude Code, or the way that you can continue coding in Claude Code, is through remote connections. To remotely access this Claude Code session while it's in server mode, you can open up the Claude app on any device. Just make sure you're signed in to your account. You can also copy and paste this URL in any browser on any device. And if you want to just quickly connect with your phone, you can just tap the spacebar right now while you're in this terminal and just scan the QR code on your mobile device. And to hide this QR code, just tap the spacebar again. To quit or to end the Claude Code session when it's in server mode, because there is no command line, the way that you quit the process in the terminal, you press the Control key and then you tap the letter C. Now let's pretend that the Claude Code server mode is running on my home computer, and now I'm at a coffee shop on my MacBook Air. Because I'm on a computer, I'm going to open up the Claude desktop app. At the top, I'm going to select Claude Code, and then I'm going to look in the sidebar. And notice that little icon. That's a server icon, indicating that that's a server session. Now, I didn't name the session, so it's just titled Untitled for now. If you look at the bottom, there is the name of my computer. And to interact with the Claude Code session remotely, I can just type in any prompt that I want. A Python hello world script. Print hello world. I'm going to rename the session here in Claude Desktop by just double clicking it here. I'll call this server demo. Let's just say hello world. And now I'm on my iPhone. To remotely connect to the Claude Code session that's running in server mode on my MacBook Pro on my iPhone, and it'd be the same if you're on an Android device or on an iPad, I'm going to open up the Claude app. In the top left corner, click on the 3 lines. So this tap code. Then I'm going to look in the sidebar, and there you can see server demo, hello world. I can see the little server icon, M1 Max, indicating what server or where it is. I'll tap it. And how about that? Exactly what I'm seeing in the Claude app on another computer or another device. Tell me a good, nerdy joke. Why do programmers prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. I think that's the only joke it knows. Checking back on the Claude desktop app, there's the joke that I just added from my iPhone. So everything is in sync. You can also remotely connect your Claude Code sessions in a web browser. When I launched the Claude Code session in server mode, it gave me a URL. So I can just copy the URL to my clipboard, Command-C. I'll paste it in Google Chrome, Command-V. There's our server demo world. We are now interacting with that Claude Code session. If you look down in the bottom right corner, you will see my M1 Max listed. But one really cool thing about server mode, if I click the little drop down, you can see you can add multiple remote control sessions. In fact, you can have up to 32 different or concurrent Claude Code remote control sessions running at the same time. You're going to be away from your home computer all day, but you still want to be able to work on these projects. So you're going to launch Claude Code session in server mode. You're going to copy the URL, open up a web browser, paste it in, and then when you go down to the server and click, check that out. Project 1. Maybe you want to work on Project 2 now. You can add up to 32 different remote control sessions. I mean, that's pretty cool. All you do to add an additional remote control session up to 32 is just click, choose Add Remote Control, and you can see the instruction says navigate to your preferred directory or preferred folder on your computer and run the command Claude Remote Control. That's the server mode control, which we already know about. I just right-click on each folder, went to Services, and choose New Terminal at Folder. That opens up a terminal window, and you just run that Claude Remote-Control. Back on my iPhone, open up the Claude app, and how about that? Project 1, Project 2, all I have to do is just type to interact with that project, and now I can work on up to 32 different projects at the same time from my iPhone on the beach or anywhere that I can remotely connect back to my server. The command to launch interactive session mode looks very similar to server mode. The main difference is you put these 2 little dashes before remote control. So I want to do some work in Claude Code on project number 1, but I have an appointment to go to in a half hour. So I'm going to open this in interactive session mode. So remote control is going to be enabled. So I'm ready to leave home. All I have to do is get up and go, and then I can open up my iPhone or my iPad or another computer, and I can remotely access this session that is on my local computer. Just right-click, go to Services, and choose New Terminal at Folder. You're just going to type in Claude space -- remote - control. Instead of typing out the full remote control, All you have to do is enter RC, which stands for remote control. And to name your session while you're launching it, I'll put a space after RC, quotations, and now just enter the name that you want for the session. I'll say Project 1 Remote. Double quote. I'll tap Return. Claude Code launches. We are in the Project 1 directory or the Project 1 folder located on my desktop. This is an interactive session because we are able to chat with Claude right here in the terminal. And if you look in the bottom right corner, the remote control is active. So I could walk away from my computer right now. I'm going to open up the Claude app on my iPhone. I'll tap the hamburger menu in the top left corner. I'll choose Code. And there I can see Project 1 Remote, just like we named it. And now I can type something. I'll tap Return. And check it out. Whatever I typed here on my iPhone is showing up in the terminal window. Let's open up the Claude desktop app and just confirm that it's working. There's our Project 1 Remote. There's the Hello World script. And to test out in a browser, I'm going to copy the URL. And just a note about this URL. It does change every time you start a new session, but you do not want to share this URL while it is active, because anyone who has this URL while your Claude Code session is active will be able to access your Claude Code session. So keep this private. Paste it in a browser on any device, tap Return, and now we are remotely connecting to a Claude Code session, which is on my MacBook Pro. And the last method for starting a remote control session is from an existing session, or if you already have a Claude Code session open in the terminal and you want to turn on remote control so you can walk away from your computer and then pick up that session on another device. I'm going to open the Project 1 directory in the terminal. I'll just type cd space. I'm going to drag this project directory or folder right on the terminal window. I'll tap Return. I'm going to launch Claude Code by just typing CLAUDE, tap Return. Claude Code opens. This is a typical Claude Code session. Remote control is not active. But let's say that I want to walk away and pick up this session on my iPhone. Well, all I need to do to enable remote control with an existing session already open, you're going to use the / commands in Claude Code. So /, just start typing out remote control, REMOTE. You'll see it in the list. You can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to go up and down the list. But remember that shortcut so you don't have to type out the full remote control. You can just type RC. You'll see it in the list as remote control. You can tap Return. But before you do that, you might want to name your session to make it easy for you to see on your remote devices. So after typing out /remote-control or /RC, to name the session, just put a space. You do not need quotation marks for this. Just type the name of the session you want. So I could put Project 1 Remote, tap Return. Remote control is now active, so I can pick up this session on any device. Here is the URL if I want to pick it up in a browser on another computer or another device. I'm just going to open up the Claude app on my iPhone. I'll tap the hamburger menu in the top left corner. I'll choose Code. And there I can see the Project 1 Remote on my M1 Max. Anything that I type here is going to go in my Claude Code session. And as you can see, I am seeing exactly what I typed on my iPhone on my MacBook Pro. If you forget to name your remote session, or if you want to change the name of your remote session at any time, in Claude Code, you can just type / rename space, then just type out the new session name, tap Return, and that is going to rename your session. And the way that you terminate or deactivate a remote control session when you are in interactive mode or when you started the remote control session from an existing Claude Code session, so basically when you're not in server mode, the way that you deactivate the remote control session, instead of typing exit, which is how you typically exit out of Claude Code, what you do with remote control is just type out the / remote control command again. So type / remote -control or use the keyboard shortcut /RC, tap Return again, and then you're going to get this message, which you can scroll through using the arrow keys on your keyboard. So you can disconnect the session. You can show this QR code. If you want to do the quick QR code, you're just going to type select, and now you can scan it with your iOS device. If you want to get out of that, just type the escape key to go back to the message. Again, whenever you want to deactivate or bring up that menu to bring up the QR code, you can just do /RC. And if you want to disconnect, I'll choose disconnect by tapping the arrow keys on my keyboard. I'm going to tap enter or return to select. So this remote control session has been disconnected. I no longer see that message in the bottom right that says the remote control is active, and any device that is remotely connecting to it will no longer have access to that session. And now I can exit out of Claude Code using the /exit the way that I typically do when I'm not in a remote control session. I'll tap return. And now I'm back at the command line. I can type clear. Just a recap. To start a remote control session in server mode, all you have to do, type Claude /RC, tap return. To deactivate or to end the session, Control key, tap the letter C. To start an interactive session, you're going to type Claude /, and now you can just type RC. You can put a space and just name the session. New session, tap return. Remote control is active. Now you can pick it up on any other device. Just open up the Claude app, paste in the URL in a browser, and to deactivate this, you're just going to put in remote control using the / commands in Claude Code. So / remote control, or you can use the shortcut /RC, tap return. You're going to get that menu, use the arrow keys, select disconnect the session, and now you're back into Claude Code without remote control access. And if you're already working in a Claude Code session and you want to launch the remote control, well, all you have to do in the command line /RC, tap return. Remote control is now active. To rename a session at any time, / rename space new name, tap return. And to exit out of this, you're just going to do /RC, disconnect the session, and to exit out of the Claude Code REPL and get back to the command line in your terminal or command shell, you're going to do /EXIT, tap return, enter clear to clear out the terminal window. And remember that keyboard shortcut, tap CD. That's going to take you back into your home directory. That is how you start a remote control session 3 different ways in Claude Code. My name is Mike Murphy, your AI handyman. Cheers.